if you pick people that are already unavailable, when it doesn't work out, it does not hurt that
as
bad.
much. Exactly.
And you can't be rejected by somebody that was never going to be yours in the first place. Episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Welcome back.
Azul's being extra cute today. Where is he?
Well, is he though?
Is he here?
Well, he got the ick last week.
Azul got the ick. Is he in here?
He's in here. He's over here.
Oh, he's by you. He's being extra cute.
Come on, Azul.
I appreciate him more because a dog tried to murder me yesterday.
That is crazy.
A golden retriever. And you said the craziest thing, which like you said that like you described people as being like sweet as a golden retriever, and this dog tried to eat my face.
No, they low key can be aggressive. Not all golden retrievers. Don't freak out if you have some sweet golden retriever, but I've known them to be not that easy.
But I was.
Do we always had issues with them? I would say they are one of the top 5 breeds in my whole history as like a dog owner, being on the streets, of dogs that tend to be a little more aggressive, of like friends I've known that have had golden retrievers. And listen, I love a golden retriever.
They trick you.
I know.
They are sweet.
Misrepresented.
They are. They're just like, they're gaslighting you. They're like, everybody else loves me.
Like,
what's
want to
wrong
be
with
like
you?
Pit bulls, this and that. It's like, never met a pit bull that didn't smother me with love.
Literally. Never. Your brother's dogs have never lunged at me.
No, right. But a golden retriever. And so if you see 2 of them, watch out, because they will gas each other. I'm telling you.
I was just so humiliated. This dog like went straight for my face at a party yesterday where I was saying hi to new strangers, and I was like, it's like when a baby cries when you touch it, and you're like, I swear I'm not a bad person.
Embarrassing. That will give you the ick.
You're like, do I give it back? Like, what do I do? And then I was trying to act cool. Like, it doesn't bother me that your dog tried to bite my face.
No. But you shouldn't have been embarrassed. They should have been embarrassed. Okay. Don't have a party and let your dog running loose and then be like, sorry, he's just really aggressive and bites people sometimes. What are you doing? Put him in a crate.
And then he sat next to you the rest of the party and I'm scared.
Well, remember Ricky? We had a dog. He did die, RIP, like a tragic death. And it was awful because he got hit by a car at like young. Like he was only like 3. My dad was just despondent. It was so awful. It was the week of Thanksgiving. But my dad did adopt Ricky, and he was like my dad's dog, but he was aggressive and you couldn't look him in the eye, and he was scary to be around.
Could your dad look him in the eye?
Yeah, my dad could do whatever.
Only your dad.
And then he was pretty cool with my mom, but really anybody else, like you had to be careful. Remember he bit Louisa's boyfriend?
Well, he was asking for it.
Ricky. But did you ever do a vacation with Ricky?
No,
you never met Ricky. Oh,
do you know,
this was way before.
You know how jarring it is to hear you talk about a dog and call it Ricky?
You never, that's right. He died before you and I ever met. Yeah. I remember like on a family vacation, I'd brought like my ex-boyfriend at the time, and there was this picture of him sitting next to Ricky on the couch, like you with that golden retriever. And he is like staring straight ahead. And it was like, don't look him in the eye.
Okay. Was it more awkward than the first weekend I met your whole family and there was all those enormous dogs just surrounding me?
There was like 4 dogs in the beach house. Raina she perched up on like the arm of the couch like this.
I was like, don't acknowledge it to this whole room of people that you're scared of all these dogs. I'm 2 feet tall. All these dogs are bigger than me. You can't acknowledge that you're scared of it.
Well, all our dogs are really sweet in the family now, ever since Ricky passed, again, RIP. But, you know, it's probably for the best. We probably would have gotten sued.
Ricky died
at some point. Ricky and Rusty.
This whole podcast is brought to you by Ashley's Family Dogs.
We need a dog sponsor.
Have we never had one?
No, like we did one back catalog read one time for the DNA testing.
Oh, right.
But yeah, we have our pretty litter. We need something.
All right. Well, let's thank the people that actually sponsor this podcast.
Let's do it.
Thanks to HelloFresh for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Go to HelloFresh.com/50GGE and use the code 50GGE for 50% off plus free shipping.
Yes. And we'd like to thank Nutrafol for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve visible thickness and strength. Go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code GGE to save $10 off your first month subscription plus free shipping on every order. And we'd like to thank Care Caraway for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Caraway's internet famous kitchenware is a staple for any home and comes in various modern shades to fit with any design aesthetic. Visit carawayhome.com/GGE to get 10% off your next purchase.
So I'll tell you about the rest of yesterday.
Okay.
I've been dying to tell you this all day.
Oh my gosh.
I've missed you so much. I haven't seen you that much lately.
I mean, I was under the weather.
Yeah. Well, now you're over the weather. You look great.
Thank you.
So we went to this party yesterday and we were drinking all day from like 1 o'clock until very late.
You were on a date?
Yes. Dallas Business Card Man.
Yes. Just want to clear.
So we came back here. I cannot stress how drunk I was. So we're talking and I decided I want to take a bath.
What? File this under things I can never relate to. If I told my man I want to take a bath, he would be like, she's been drugged.
She's taken. I've never gotten in the bath in this house. I've lived here for 5 months. I've never set foot in the tub.
Oh, are you out on baths now?
I don't know. It's cumbersome. It's a deep bath. It's hard to get into it.
Okay.
But I've got this bold idea. I'm going to light candles and bring wine into the bath.
No.
Also, I couldn't get like the bubbles to foam up, so there wasn't that many bubbles.
What is going on with that?
What?
It's like a scam, bubbles. Like, I feel like I have not, like, one time I did take a bath with a guy last summer. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then I tried to take a bath in DC last summer as well. And like at this very fancy hotel and it wasn't bubbling up. Like, it's a scam.
There was no bubbles. It's awkward
so
to be
then you see all your body parts.
Yeah, it's weird.
You're just like vaginas floating to the top.
There's just balls in the tub.
Just balls in the tub. Seriously.
And I will say the least sexy position is crumpled up in a tub like that. Yes! A new person. There's no bubbles. This is not the funny part of the story, but I have hair extensions in. The hair extensions are the third host of this podcast. This podcast is brought to you by hair extensions. So I've been wearing them all day. I had to like take them out because I wasn't going to get into the tub with hair extensions. So I was like, he was already in the bathroom. He'd gotten into the tub and I was like, how do I get these out? Not in front of him. And all I remember thinking is, I got to take these out and put them somewhere where I will remember that I've taken them out and put them. Like, I hid them.
Because you're drunk. Okay.
And I just remember the last thought I had was like, I'll put them in this place. I'll find it tomorrow morning before he does. And
no. Famous last words. I'll remember. No.
I don't remember where I put them. So I come downstairs this morning and I'm in the kitchen and I open a drawer to get a fork.
No, they're not in the silverware drawer. Your drunk mind is so elite. The rationale behind I'm putting these in the silverware drawer. No, I cannot. We'll obviously put this on YouTube for you guys. This is so good. It looks so good with your gold silverware.
I know, it matches really well. So
this is a beautiful photo.
Thank you.
Honestly, I love this.
The last time he stayed here, he asked for a bottle of water on his way out in the morning. I was like, he's going to ask for a bottle of water in the morning, so I can't put it in the fridge. So
the fridge, if I would have come in today, because I came in with my leftovers, my HelloFresh, and there would have been hair extensions in that fridge. And then I'm new to the culture, so I'd have been like, oh, you keep them cold. That's how you keep them fresh.
I would have gaslit you so hard that you had to keep their temperature sensitive. My God. You know, like you wake up and you're so proud of your drunk self. Like that was a good ass idea. Because normally I'll crumple them up and stick them somewhere and I will never find them again until the end of time.
Yeah, but if he would have needed a utensil for something and saw those, that would have been the best thing that would have ever happened. I remember one summer we were at like Matt's beach house. He kept the beach house through the winter. We were there in the winter and a bunch of us went back to the beach house. We all crashed there after going out. And Matt's girlfriend at the time, like ex-girlfriend a long time ago, the next morning we like could not find her purse. And we were like, where's her purse? Where's her purse? We looked everywhere. In the freezer.
What?
In the freezer. And it was just like so her. I loved her. And I was just like, something. It's just
so funny.
It wasn't like Matt wasn't surprised.
I see the leap she took because people keep money in the freezer. They like put it in tins in the freezer. I see the leap.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
You know, I've been meaning to ask you, and I don't know why I don't know this. When you were with that guy, this is pre-Sparkle Eyes, last year, in the tub, was there water in the tub? You guys were taking a bath?
We filled the tub. We were in a nice hotel.
Okay.
In New York. I was just down the street from my apartment at the Addition.
I don't know why like
he
in my
wanted to get in the
mind-
tub, obviously. But remember, that was my big water summer. I kept fucking in water. I did round it out with him in early fall, end of summer. He was just like, let's get in the bath. But yeah, here's what I think also happened at that tub. And then earlier that summer, I tried to take a bath at that fancy hotel in DC. They give you salts, which is obviously not bubbles. Bath salts don't do anything.
I was dumping body wash, Head and Shoulders, dumping it under the faucet.
Yeah, we had no bubbles. I took that picture.
Really awkward.
You've seen the photo.
Okay.
We weren't naked. We were naked, but we sent a selfie to our mutual friend who kind of like set us up a little bit.
Like, oh, we're in the bath.
And we're like, we're in the bath at 3 a.m.
That would be so satisfying if you sent that to me. If I set somebody
I
up
sent you
and
next
you're in
morning,
the tub.
didn't
I
I?
know. Yeah, I love it. I love that photo.
Yeah.
You have bathtub sex? Do you like it?
We'd already started to hook up in the bedroom. We moved it to the bath. We started making out, and then we like stood and kind of started to have sex, I think. And then I was like, I'm going to slip. Our feet were still in the tub. I was like, I will die not doing what I loved. If I died in the bathtub, off brand.
But you'd be in water. I feel like this is on brand
I would
for
die
you.
having shower sex. That's how I want to go out. Getting waterboarded in the shower. Giving a blowjob in the shower. That's how she went out.
I have never tried to give a blowjob in the shower. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I did that once.
But okay, anyways, bathtub sex. It's just like a
Did
funny...
you guys have sex?
in the bathtub.
In the tub.
But
what position?
I was on top.
On top in the tub. Riding in the tub.
What do you mean?
I don't know what's normal. I'm shaming you for no reason. I can't imagine.
He was sitting up and I was straddling him. I was on top of
No,
him.
I can't even imagine. Also, like, I'm thinking of me and Sparkle Eyes, and he's 6'3".
so many
I'm
limbs.
5'10". He's the longest legs. Like, it would be insane
It would look
looking.
crazy.
It would look wild.
It would look
like a big spider.
This just looked like some guy was in the tub with his daughter. I mean, I'm
Daddy's taking a bath. It's bath time for little Raina. Put your hair extensions in the silverware. Raina, put your hair extensions in the silverware drawer and join Daddy for a bath.
if I called him daddy and it was not received well, you're like in the tub with this man, you call him daddy.
Oh my
and he was
God.
like, what did you just say to me?
Have you called him that?
I don't think so.
You probably said some shit. You've been drunk.
I've reeled it in. I've kept it in the box, you know. I'm building towards it. It's hard to get friction in the tub, though. It's like it doesn't feel like anything.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. It's not a hot take. Like, you really cannot get penetrated in water that long. It starts to hurt. The guy's any sort of sizable penis, and even maybe if not, I wouldn't know. Haven't really experienced much of that. But it's just like you're not lubricated. It's not good.
It's not a good lubrication. It doesn't feel good. If somebody even has a giant dick and you have the tightest pussy in the world, it's too much lubrication and also not enough somehow.
Well, you know what I was thinking? And we sell an amazing water-based lubricant, Vibes Only. It's called Juiced Up. Our lube is so elite. It is really the best on the market.
I used it last night. It was great.
Yeah, it's so good. You know, we've talked about developing a silicone-based one. And I bet you could use a little silicone-based lube in the shower and you'd be better off. I've actually been thinking about that. Yeah.
So we got out of the tub and finished having sex upstairs.
Okay. So how's it going?
It's going good.
It's going good?
Yeah, it's going good. I just I can love that we're laughing so hard because I was like a little banged up this morning and I was talking to
a little. I need to be saving your voice notes because your hungover voice notes, it's giving deathbed. Like, it's giving... She's not going to make it.
That's how I feel.
Okay. You are croaking out the words. It's my favorite.
I had already finished my avocado toast and my burrito by 10 a.m.
What time did you eat salmon? And watch a comedy special. What a luxury.
I watched John Mulaney's comedy special at 8:30 this morning. On a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being the show we did in DC this year where I didn't know I was going to make it, I'm at a 9.
Wow.
It's pretty bad.
Okay, like a top 5 hangover for the year.
This is pretty bad. I threw up this morning.
Yeah.
But like, people are always like, how much did you drink? And it's like, I could probably have 4 drinks the whole day, maybe 5, between like 1 o'clock and 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Like, I don't need that much. Just consistent drinking all day doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
It's not a hot take. Alcohol doesn't make you feel good.
Totally.
So, but Tessa got me Pedialyte. I'm feeling better. But I was talking to my ex in DC this morning. You were so funny. You were like, you talk to everybody that is an ex of yours. we'll talk about all of them today.
All you do is to stay in touch with your exes. I don't recommend it. This is not good dating advice.
Well, him and I have the most platonic.
He's totally just actually like a friend. And this was so many years ago.
Yes, so many years ago. But I said, like, I don't know what we're doing on this episode today. And he was like, just have Ashley maybe make fun of you.
Have Ashley make fun of you for content. And I was like, yeah, that's what we do. That's the show.
You heard the show?
Have you heard of us?
If you've been to every live show we've ever done in DC, that's the show.
Right. Yeah.
It was just funny,
especially
like a hot
DC
take.
This year. You were so hungover.
Yeah. But I'm doing good today. I'm always excited to record.
You're able to push through more than I am. You're like better
With a
in a
hangover?
hangover. Yeah.
I don't want to let you down.
Well, I don't also get that
down.
hungover anymore. I don't get that drunk. Like, I can't handle it. It like ruins my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
same. Yeah. But you're really nice to be around when I'm hungover because you really feel my pain.
yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah.
I actually do like commiserate because you know how that feeling is.
You're better though because other people are hungover and I'm like, you're just annoying me. Your inability to be present and do a good job is annoying me. And it doesn't seem to annoy you. So good for me.
Well, I felt a little, I mean, I just hadn't been drinking, like I wasn't like well. And so Kate and I got together this past Friday night and just like had wine. You know, we kind of like started 6. I cooked dinner, cooked meatloaf. HelloFresh.
I didn't hear from you. I always know when I don't hear from you for a few hours, you're making your HelloFresh.
Yeah. And then we just like went outside. We were still drinking. Then we opened another bottle. And then we like just hung out till midnight, just like catching up and stuff. So it's just like a long time.
No one is more dangerous than Kate.
I know.
She is the most dangerous friend you could ever have. She will never let you not drink. And she's always down for just one more.
Well, she was saying to you, because the next Saturday night we all went out and I had said like, I kind of want some ice cream. And she's like, maybe we open another bottle. Like literally I was like, do you want to go down to Salt and Straw? And she's like, how about we just open another bottle?
And she says it so sweetly. She's this very sweet voice. And she's like, maybe we just like have another bottle.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're so sweet. Okay. I can't say no. And you're so cool. I don't want to let you down.
And we had such a good bottle. So then I woke up just like not feeling totally great on Saturday morning. And this is something I've been doing with Sparkle Eyes is I want to like talk to him in the morning. It just makes me like feel better. So I'll just be like laying in my bed and he's up. He's been up for hours, you know, because he's like lives in the East Coast. And I'll just like have the phone laying next to me like on speaker and just like let him like get me back to life. It's just been really nice.
That's cute.
It's a really nice perk to having a boyfriend.
Oh my God, so nice.
Yeah. And he's like in a good mood. He's just like cheering me up.
Yeah.
He's been awake. Yeah. So if I have a mild hangover, it starts the day really nice for me.
Oh, I love that for you.
Yeah.
Good job, Sparkle Eyes.
Okay, so we are recording this before we go to Chicago, but we will have had the festival in Chicago that we headlined, EatsCon with the Infatuation, and I'm sure it was incredible. And they told us that it was like the quickest sellout they've had. So thank you guys for getting those tickets and coming out. And I'm sure it was amazing. If there was anything insane, we'll recap it on the next episode when we get back. We're doing 2 this week, so we're getting like kind of ahead because then we're going to go to Dewey Beach right after. And yeah, Sparkle Eyes is coming to Chicago. So we're having like a little romantic weekend in Chicago.
With me,
well, and you and Ashley. Everybody's going, the whole team. So we, again, are coming off of that. And then we are so excited. The next show is going to be in London. And we still have a few tickets left in London. We are planning the show. It's going to be so epic. We're going to do all the things that we do at a US show, maybe even bigger. And then we have Texas, and then we have the West Coast, and we have the Southeast, and then New York and Toronto at the end of the year. And then tickets at girlsgoteat.com.
And if you guys are newer here, I'm sure we have new listeners this summer. The live shows are wild.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
The podcast is really fun. We do a topic every week, but the live shows are a wild circus. You can come by yourself, bring your significant other. People plan their birthday parties or bachelorettes around it. It is the most fun. I love watching everybody with their like pre-gaming parties and they get dressed up and they got to eat. Also, don't get dressed up. Wear stretch pants. I don't care. But it's just such a great time. We open the show with dancers and drum lines, and it's just wild.
And we like share stuff that we don't share in the podcast. We keep it like in like secret little space, big space in a lot of cases. And it really is like unlike any show that's out there. So we really hope to see you guys on the road. I got to tell you one thing I'm so excited for. One of my favorite things to do. And now I have somebody to send all my hotel nudes to.
So excited for you.
Because I love nothing more than taking sexy pics in a nice hotel room.
You can send them to me still.
I know.
I sent you a nude yesterday.
Yeah, I was at the nail salon.
It
came through, and then I'm trying to do my. So she saw it because my phone's on the table between us, and I'm just using one hand. She just like
I feel like she's part of the family.
Oh, she is totally. So my nail tech, I love her, and you know she's the only person I've done these extensions. It's a 90-minute process, and she's getting married in May of next year. And for an hour, we talked about Mexican weddings. And I learned a lot. You know, I'm kind of obsessed with like other wedding cultures. Like,
Absolutely.
I think it's so cool how they're all so different. And I feel like I know Jewish, Indian, like not all the ins and outs, but I didn't really know Mexican.
Regular white people could not be more boring. I have been to the same wedding like 30 times.
Yeah, totally. It's so basic. So I was like really interested. They're having like 450 people.
Oh my God.
All this crazy stuff. And then you're not supposed to drink the day of your wedding.
Like the bride and
couple
groom don't drink.
Or it's like bad luck. And she had like crazy stories in her family. Like if you do, you're like cursed with like divorce or death.
This does not sound like something that a fun culture would do. I don't know how else to explain it.
I mean, if you're doing religious, like that's one thing that's kind of they like you can drink the day before, the day after. Everything revolves around food. At least like she was telling me, like a lot of people get married like 7 a.m, the day of. They're doing
so they
like
can start
10.
drinking?
Well, they're not like it was just I learned a lot about like all the things that happen in like the 3 days of like a Mexican wedding. I was just like hanging on every word. I love hearing about different like cultural wedding traditions.
I actually have thought about this a lot. If I ever get married, will I drink that day? I just really feel like my cousin didn't drink it on her wedding because she was just like, this took me a year to plan. I'm going to remember every
detail. Yeah.
And that's how I feel like I'll want to be. Like I just, you know me, I have a drink and a half and I am gone.
You're also high on the dopamine, the serotonin. I always get those two confused. Maybe it's both.
To me, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's a happy hormones.
We're
like
not
you
doctors.
really don't. I wouldn't need it.
Right.
Like if anything, I would need it to calm down a little because I get so excited where I feel like jittery almost. But what I don't love and what you see a lot is, and I've seen it with friends even, is like the groom is like a little buzzed before the ceremony.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, your friends, everybody's flown to see you in a lot of cases. You're on destination. But like, I would want to be so like, remember every single detail. And I would never want to be like drunk really.
So many of my friends married people that drank all day long from the minute they woke
Which
up.
also
and
is fine if that's what you want to do.
I think it's. I'm not that cool anymore. I don't know. I don't want to do it.
I know, but like some people just do. It's like that's all
I
right.
think most people do. I think my brother drank all day long. We had
all
alcohol
day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like you start getting ready at like 9 a.m. I think my brother probably had like a ton of drinks by the time we took photos.
Yeah. All right.
I had done a lot of drugs by the time we took
Photos. Oh my God. I want to be fresh.
hours
as a
of photos.
daisy.
Yes. My face gets droopy.
Right.
That
Like
crazy
one
look in my
drink,
eyes.
I look a little different.
Yeah, I look uglier. My face falls.
I mean, it's like such a personal preference, but I found that really interesting. And then she told me this like story about like a family member and then they were super wasted and then they like had a terrible tragedy. She had me believing in it so hard. I was like, if I get married, I'm not drinking. And I like, she was telling me stories. I was like, it's real. And I'm not religious or Mexican.
Backed
Like,
up with examples she'd received.
I was just like, oh my God, it's a curse.
I believe it.
I was so interested in this.
Well, she's part of the family. I don't care if she saw my notes. I don't care if everybody in the room saw mine. I go to this place, Pinky's, between Santa Monica and Venice, and every time I go there, it's like a meet and greet. It's just like everybody listens to the podcast, and it's like really such a joy. I love them so much. If you ever want a nail salon, but I feel like you're a nail tech in mine. They're part of the family.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, and she was out for a couple weeks, and I needed it done, but I just got him removed and then waited for her to come back. Like, I'm not going to anyone else. And I was like, I have been panicked waiting for you to come back. And she was like, I know, my clients are like freaking out. I'm like, you can't go on a honeymoon.
I would be so pissed.
I'm going to revolve my nails around her honeymoon.
You told me she was leaving, and I was like, I would die if my nail tech ever left. I would die. I would not be okay. And one of the guys at the salon did Beyonce's nails for Coachella a couple years ago, and that's who did my spray paint.
Whoa.
He was like spraying this like marble color all over me.
I love it. Oh, I showed her that. So you were texting me. We were the nails. You were like an hour later than me. So you were texting me like, what should I get? And then I showed
And she was
her, and she was just like, yeah, I love those.
Okay, great.
So she approved. We just did my red, my iconic diva.
Well, that's what you like.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna hold hands with.
Yep.
That's what it is.
All right, let's take a quick break. I am so excited to tell you guys about Caraway. Rain and I fought over this ad read. Rain, you can jump in anytime.
Thank you so much on our podcast. We share together.
So Caraway cookware, we are obsessed.
I want to get into the house immediately so I can use it. There's not a day that goes by that I don't use the cookware.
Yeah, and put your extensions next to it. It is going to be like, you're scared as little. This is what people are getting for Christmas. It is the best gift. It will change your life. So Caraway cookware, it's non-toxic, chemical free, and it's so non-stick. And I feel like, back in the day, it was like nonstick could really be correlated with like toxic chemicals and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, this is not the case. It's 2023. There is no forever chemicals. So you really do get the best of both worlds. So I just have like the basic set that's 2 pots and 2 pans. I need to order some more stuff with them. I want like everything they do.
Every single thing that they do. I can't get enough of it.
I know. And I have like the cream color. You have the cream as well. But they have like all these different colorways. And there's, I think Tan France has a collab with them right now. And it's like all one color. I think there's like a pink that I'm obsessed with. It feels like this is like luggage. I just want like every single color.
It just makes cooking such a pleasure. Like I make eggs with it and I just do like one swipe of the pan and it's clean.
Right. Yeah.
How does this even exist?
Like I make so many dishes with rice and the rice would kind of get stuck to the pot. Never. There's no rice sticking to the pot.
Nothing sticks to it.
You cannot screw it up. I mean, you could if you're really, really bad at cooking, but I just really feel like this is such a game changer. And we love the way the sets come with Caraway's organization system that keeps it all organized. And here is a great deal. Go to carawayhome.com/GGE or use code GGE at checkout for 10% off. So what I have is there is these holders and then they all like magnetic come together. So all my pots and pans, and then it's like up on the top of my stove. There's like a ledge. It looks gorgeous. Like they
really nice setup.
I know the setup is so gorgeous. Like it really does look good. You can display them like out. So we love it so much. And again, easy cooking, easy cleanup, non-toxic, and all the sets come equipped with complimentary easy access storage solutions. So that's not something you have to buy separately. So you're going to get that when you buy your set. So get in there. And like I said, we have a discount for you. You're going to love it. You can visit carawayhome.com/GGE to get 10% off your next purchase. That is Caraway non-toxic cookware made modern. carawayhome.com/GGE.
Yes. And what you can use those to cook is your HelloFresh. HelloFresh makes whipping up a delicious chef-crafted meal so easy. We all have so much to do. Let HelloFresh get the groceries and save you some cash with pre-portioned meals delivered right to your door. Go to HelloFresh.com/50GGE and use the code 50GGE for 50% off plus free shipping. I mean, they really do make everything so simple. There's a ton of variety. So over 40 chef-crafted recipes to choose from every single week. And if you are vegan, if you want something quick and easy, if you want to cook something that's good for kids, tons to choose from. But because they pre-portion everything and then they give you a recipe card to follow, everything is super easy. So if you're like, I have no skill set whatsoever, or I'm not creative in the kitchen, let them help you. And then you have these recipes in your repertoire forever. So I absolutely love what they do. I've never made anything from them that I didn't enjoy. I'm just looking at some new stuff right now. Pork and pepper enchiladas. This looks so delicious.
And you can switch that pork out.
And yes, you can do substitutions if you don't want pork.
Because I don't do pork.
Yeah.
So what I just made and I just ate in front of you, I brought my leftovers over, was a Hall of Fame meal. When they say Hall of Fame, they mean it. If it says Hall of Fame on it, like trust me on that, it's going to be good. The sweet chili turkey bowls. So I think it was originally pork. I could be wrong, but I subbed out turkey. So I like a lot of their meals. I'm sure their pork is amazing, but I just don't eat a lot of pork. So I always get their ground beef or the turkey.
And
sausage.
we love the beef in this family. Southwest beef cavatappi. So good. Balsamic rosemary pork chops, curry coconut chicken. So tons to choose from. And I think this is just a really good way to become a little more creative in the kitchen. They sort of take the thinking out of it for you. And check it out. You will love it. Ashley and I both love it. Go to HelloFresh.com/50GGE and use the code 50GGE for 50% off plus free shipping.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about our faces?
What do you want to say about our faces?
Well, we went back to Barrett, Beverly Hills, which is where Raina got her 3rd breast surgery. Not from them. First 2 were from
First
someone
one
else.
from them, yeah.
And then this is where we get all of our face stuff. And it's just so fun when we're there.
The whole squad just comes in to like joke around with us.
It's something about it is so empowering. Like it's all these women in the room.
And they're all smart. They're all fun. I don't know if that's everybody's experience, but like,
no,
I love it. I've met every person at this practice and they're all the times I had my boob job there. I'm doing this laser therapy. It's called AdvaTX, and I'll let you guys know how it is. It's just supposed to reduce the redness and like the thickness of scars. So
it was
I'll
so
go
quick.
back once a month. Yeah. They didn't numb or anything. It's just a little bit hot and that's it. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. But I met everybody in that practice and I love everybody. I feel like I'm walking around like high-fiving people like, good game, good game, good game.
So Dr. Barrett, like I followed them on, and he's like so hot, and he's like this celebrity surgeon, whatever. So he's like kind of a celebrity in my mind. And I met him for the first time. He was in the office, but his wife came in. I didn't know it was his wife.
I never met her.
You didn't meet his wife?
No, it was his birthday that day, so she was probably stopping by to say
So
hello.
we always stay in the same room. We get our Botox and fillers, but Raina went next door. She did the laser while I was getting my Botox and fillers. And this woman comes in. She's like gorgeous. She's so nice.
Oh, really?
And Danny was like asking me about like sparkle eyes. And she was like, wait, is this a new boyfriend? Tell me everything. And I was like, what?
Dr. Barrett's wife?
Yes. And then she leaves. They're like, that's Dr. Barrett's wife. I'm like, oh my God, an icon among us.
I want to meet her. You're so lucky.
She was so cool. So I don't know. I think people like always are curious about this kind of stuff. If you don't care, then you're just, aging naturally, just speed ahead. Or you're like in your 20s. We always say Botox, but what I got is this brand new thing. This was FDA approved in the fall. And I remember reading about it. It's just supposed to be like a better, longer lasting, a little more natural looking. You get a little more movement in your face, which some people don't want. I do. The same thing, whatever those things are called. It's Botox, Dysport. It's the things that like, freeze your faces a little bit.
I call it Botox, but it's like calling a tissue a Kleenex.
Yeah,
that's not what
it's like
called.
Botox is the brand name. So this is called Daxify, and I love it. And it kind of sets in right away. My thing is with my forehead, I get my forehead done. Like I'm always worried it's going to lower my brow, but Nurse Pam, she's such an incredible injector, and she like puts it up so it brings my brows up. So I'm like loving it. And then I do what's called a lip flip. So I really don't want to get lip filler, and I probably never will, but I don't have like the fullest lips. My top lip, it just kind of like disappears a little bit when I smile, and I have a little bit of a gummier smile. So when I went before, she did a little Botox like under my nose to kind of relax that muscle, and the lip flip. And the lip flip basically just makes your top lip look a little fuller. Uh-huh. And for me personally, she did an amazing job. And when I smiled really hard, no gums, it looked perfect, but I didn't love my top lip being pushed down like day to day. Like I felt like my soft smile didn't look good. I felt a little like the Grinch. Like I felt like it didn't work for my face. Like kind of like Cindy Lou Who.
I don't know who wants that.
Well, it just depends on how much you have there. Like if you have a crazy like horse gummy smile, like it would probably be better. But yeah, exactly what you're doing. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I felt like it was too lowered, but it looked gorgeous when I smiled really hard, but it's like you kind of have to pick. Uh-huh. So I was like, I just waited for that to go away. And then I went back and just did what is called the traditional lip flip. And they just put a little bit of the Botox, Daxify, whatever you get, like right at the top of your lip. It does hurt, but it's super quick. And it just kind of pulls that lip up, makes it like a little fuller and not as gummy. And I'm like obsessed with it. So I'm just like
better.
And they say it lasts like only a month, but mine's been like 2+ months. Like even 3 months later, she was like, you still have some left. So if you are interested in exploring like the lip, I think this is good to start with before you go like full filler.
This looks better to me than what you did last time. It looks like way better and looks really good, and it looks full and nice. And you're so much better at remembering medical procedures and like things that go in your face. Like you rattled off all these names this morning, and I was like, is that the Botox? And you're like, no, right, that's the filler. And then I've said like something about your lip flip so many times, and you're like, that's not the lip flip, it's the Botox. That's Daxify.
That's Radius, Raina. Come on.
And I'm like, that's the thing that lasts 6 to 9 months. And you're like, no, we talked about this. And it's like, I don't know what's wrong with me, because I'm in the same room and they're putting needles in my face. I'm not paying attention to anything. Everybody's just being all nice, being like, how's your weekend? Who are you sleeping with? And you really catalog everything that's going on in there. Do you notice this, that I don't know one thing that you were talking about?
Yes, but I'm a little sensitive to it. So I'm like that person that's like, not too much, because I will freak out. And like, not that it's permanent, but I don't want to feel unhappy with something for even a week.
I mean, I got that one time where they did Botox in my bunny lines, and it fucked my face for months. I was beside myself. I would smile.
And you went somewhere else.
I looked crazy. I smiled, and one of my eyes would like get bigger than the other.
And this was before, this was in New York, and this is what I asked for, and it was all correct. But I did forehead Botox, eye Botox, and cheek filler, and too much going on. And I felt like my face couldn't move, and I felt like I looked too big up here, and I just couldn't move. And some people really want that.
So I like it. I like more structure in my cheeks.
Hated it. And I was like, again, but the stuff, it like sometimes can be a little swollen or puffy, and then it goes down, and it was fine. But those first couple weeks, I'm like panicked, because, you get in this thing of you're like, I did this to myself. I did this out of vanity, and now I'm unhappy, and God forbid something permanent happen. I mean, there's risks associated with everything, not really when you go to like a super reputable place, but it's just those things of just like, I always really err on the side of being really conservative.
You do. Yeah. And then you always get upset at yourself when you do a little too much, but I'm like, I don't even notice it. You didn't like go so hard.
Yeah. But we just love them. And we just like always like sharing our experience. And I like to talk about the like names of these things and like what you can even like ask for. Uh-huh. I feel like I'm really into this like Daxify thing.
I am too. Daxify is what?
The Botox.
I've been getting Botox for a long time, since I was 30. Just a couple years, you guys.
It just became like that's what you call the thing, and it's not always
like Q-tips and Kleenex.
Q-tips.
Yeah, it's cotton swab.
Yeah,
but I call it a Q-tip.
No, I know.
But like, who else makes it? Like, who else makes tissues besides Kleenex?
Puffs.
A nose in need.
Deserves puffs indeed.
Oh, it's because you got a drippy nose. You know about this?
You know, big tissue stand. But cotton swabs, I think just generic. Is there any Q-tip competitor? Who was Q-tip's biggest competitor? Look it up.
Q-tip competitor.
Maybe like Johnson & Johnson.
Competitor.
Q-tip competitor. It's probably going to pull up like the rapper.
I don't think there's a challenger in the marketplace.
They're just running the game.
They own the game. Like, you know, you sometimes get the unbranded ones at like hotels that are just like wrapped up and they're like weird.
Plastic in the middle.
Yeah.
Stop it. It bends. You put it in your ear, it bends in half.
I would rather just have dirty ears.
Okay.
I should shower. That bath probably wasn't that clean.
The bath?
The bath probably wasn't that clean.
Oh, that was like your
That was my shower for
your
the day.
cleanser?
I took showers at night in Europe before getting into bed. The luxury of it all. Unbelievable. You night showers really have got it figured out. That is so crazy what it feels like
Raina,
to take
come
a
on.
shower at night and then get into a bed. Wild. Never did it.
All right.
What?
I'm not going to hype you for this because I've been pushing it.
I'm not going to go back to it, but on vacation, it was nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a different person.
Yeah, I'm a morning showerer. Sometimes not at all.
All right. Last thing I wanted to say
Okay.
is I did just want to shout out to our teachers. Teachers are going back to school. A lot of them already have. I always forget how early sometimes they go back because I feel like when I was in school, we always went back like around Labor Day and it gets earlier and earlier. It's early in the South,
Okay.
in Florida, whatever. But we always do, for the past few years, we've done like teachers' Amazon wish list because teachers, they are not paid enough. They're severely underpaid and they have to spend a lot of their own money on classroom supplies and things like books and even stuff like pencils and pens and learning accessories and all the things, even down to like cleaning wipes they have to buy with the money out of their pocket and decorating their classroom to make it fun and things like that. So teachers like have been putting Amazon wish lists together and then we share those and we have a big Google spreadsheet and this is in our Instagram highlights. So you can still submit as a teacher if you want to submit for a friend and then click on that spreadsheet and just like pick one. There are a lot, but just pick one from the list and it'll take you right over to Amazon and you can just fulfill the whole list or you can just send a few things. And it's just really nice. And, you know, teachers make these lists and they don't get all those things and, you know, they either have to buy themselves or they go without. So we always just want to hype our teachers and they're so important and makes me rage that they don't make more and what they have to deal with in today's landscape and everything. So we just want to hype that. And again, just go to our Instagram highlights, Teachers 2023, and you can find those documents.
Yes.
All right.
Co-sign everything she said. We love all of our teachers.
Okay. Well, we have one more partner to go over, and then we are going to get into the topic. I am telling you guys about Nutrafol. This is something that I have been using since 2020. I started Nutrafol during the quarantine, and I really just wanted my hair to get thicker. I just noticed it not severely, but you know, thinning over the years, not being as thick. And so Nutrafol is the solution to this. And thinning can happen to approximately 1 in 2 women. So if you're among them, know that you're not alone. It's totally normal, and Nutrafol helps women address it from within with science-backed supplements. So this really is truly the best product on the market for this, and it's these hair growth supplements, drug-free ingredients to target root causes of thinning hair and promote healthy hair growth. It is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve visible thickness and strength, and you'll notice it like up at your hairline and just like in the thickness and even length. It can help your hair grow quicker, and so whatever you have going on, whether it's even postpartum to menopause or really no matter your life stage, I'm not dealing with either of those things. And even I have noticed changes in my hair. And that's why I started taking it. There are 4 unique formulas to support women. Each is physician formulated using drug-free science-backed ingredients. And you can go to Nutrafol.com and take the hair health wellness quiz. And that's going to show you which one you should choose. And in a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol women's hair growth supplement for 6 months. So it can take a little bit of time. I've said this before that it didn't take 6 months for me to notice. I probably noticed it honestly about like after 2 months. And I even feel like if I procrastinate and I don't take it for a little while and then I start taking it again, I even notice a difference. So I really can say that it works. So take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code GGE. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code GGE. That is Nutrafol.com, promo code GGE. Okay.
So I'm really excited to get into this topic today about habitually going after people that are unavailable. So whether it is emotionally unavailable or they're in a relationship with other people or geographically undesirable, we'll break it down to different ones. But I felt really inspired by this article that I read in New York Mag. This guy has a column called Ola Poppy. His name is JP Bramer. He's a writer and an author. And I just love his self-help column.
He's so good. We quoted him before with the ghosting thing, I believe, right? He had the hot take on ghosting.
I think he just says stuff that really like hits me in the chest. And this article, if you want to look it up, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's called I'm Only Into Guys Who Are Already in Relationships. And myself personally, that's not been an issue for me. I've traditionally just gone after people that are emotionally unavailable, but the advice in here applies to both. And there's just this paragraph that really like hit me in the chest. It really just shook me. I was like, that's me. He said, the common thread, I think, is lack of self-confidence. You don't feel ready for love or for the demands of a steady relationship. You prioritize fantasy over reality, affirmation over commitment. And that's not a crime, but if you're not satisfied, you've got to make some changes. And then he talks about rethinking your relationship with yourself, your parents, and how you look at yourself and how you grew up and what love is to you and things like that. But it was really meaningful and it really shook me. And I just have been thinking for years of like, why am I attracted to people like this? Because I don't dislike myself on the surface. I'm a confident person, but I have habitually gone after people that are unavailable emotionally for a multitude of reasons.
Well, I mean, I'd love you to talk about it a little bit more because I feel like our listeners are like, what do you mean you lack self-confidence? You know, I wouldn't think that about you. You don't really talk about that. I mean, you and I have discussed this so many hours, so many conversations. So like, to me, I've always felt like there's a little bit of a disconnect in what you think you deserve in your career, in your life, the type of life you're living and deserving of, and what you've created for yourself and all that, and what you think you're deserving of romantically, I guess, is like, to me, there's like a little bit of disconnect.
Yeah, I think on the surface, I really like myself. I think I appear really confident, and that's not an act in any way. I don't ever like walk into a room and think like, okay, act like you like yourself. I do like myself. I think I'm interesting and funny. I probably am the hardest on myself about my looks. I always think like of all my friends, I've always thought like I'm the least pretty or I'm the, I've always suffered from body dysmorphia. I look at my thighs next to my friend's thighs in a cab and I'm like, I have the fattest thighs in this cab. Like I've always probably suffered with body dysmorphia more than not liking myself. I like myself. I'm proud of what you and I do. I think I can hold a conversation with anybody. And I've had really wonderful relationships with really wonderful men. And I know when it feels secure, and I've had people that I really trusted, that I loved, long-term wonderful relationships with people. But it has been my pattern, especially in recent years, that I tend to seek out people that I don't on the surface know right away that they're not available, but they are emotionally unavailable for having grown up with trauma, for not really wanting to be in a relationship. They are not the right age for me. They don't live in the same place that I ever want to live. Yeah. And I really have thought for years, like, why do I do this? And I do think just because something is short-lived does not mean that it can't be important and meaningful in your life. And so I don't think every relationship I have to get into has to be a long-term, I'm going to marry this person, they're going to be the father of my children type of relationship. Short-term things are fine if they make you feel good, if there's no future. If you're like, this person's emotionally unavailable, but they're a good friend to me, I like talking to them, as long as you're aware of what this person is bringing to your life. But I read this thing and it also really like stuck with me. And I think it's probably more so like this. It's more of like a fear of rejection than disliking myself. It's not a confidence
because I feel like
thing.
You're also like the person that says like, I'll walk up to the hottest guy in the room, and like you definitely give off that confidence, whether you're like faking it or not.
I feel it. I think probably if I were to like identify like the source of it is like, if you pick people that are already unavailable, when it doesn't work out, it does not hurt that
as
bad.
Much. Exactly.
And you can't be rejected by somebody that was never going to be yours in the first place.
Yeah.
And somebody that clearly has an avoidant attachment style, that's inconsistent, that you always feel like it's climbing Mount Everest to like build a connection with them. You can never truly feel rejected by this person because it's like, well, it was never going to work out.
It was never going to work out.
This person
I always knew it was doomed to fail from the start. Like where someone that is like open and vulnerable and like actually available, it hurts way worse if they just don't choose you because they were open. They just didn't want you. Like, that's the narrative.
That to me is probably my biggest issue. And it's like, it doesn't have to feel bad when this person rejects you or it fails because they were going to reject you and it was going to fail.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to give that much of yourself either. You don't have to be that open and intimate and let people in that much if you're just like, this probably isn't going to work out. I'm not getting that from them either. And I wish I knew which article I copied this from. And I'm sorry, I'm reading it, just 2 sentences, but it's something you get used to after a couple of times until it eventually feels safe. A pain that is very familiar. Sticking to it saves you from the possibility of experiencing new kinds of pain, like rejection from somebody who isn't emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched you do this since the beginning of our friendship, and like sometimes I'm like, it's so obvious to me that person is not available, whether they don't want to date anybody, whether they don't want to date you, whatever it is, whether they're like just so fucked up or they're a complete fuck boy or like whatever it is. It's like so obvious to me, and then you still kind of like put a lot of time and energy into it, and like we want that attention and like develop relationships ultimately. Some of these people along the way have become like a friend, or like you enter into like this thing that like isn't gonna work out in terms of a healthy relationship, if that is what you had wanted.
Yes.
Which is not always what we want. You know, like we could talk about personal experiences, but you know, I think there was times in my life where I was like, seeing somebody that was like 10 years younger or whatever. I'm also dating somebody younger now. That doesn't qualify under someone that's unavailable age, but they were available emotionally. They wanted to date me too. I just kind of knew this wasn't like my long-term match, but like it was somebody that I guess certainly wasn't unavailable. It just was like, they're probably not going to be anything more than like a short-lived romance or hookup or whatever, but like at least we were kind of on the same page. It was like a mutual interest and availability.
I think, I mean, nobody is one thing, right? I haven't necessarily wanted a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I travel so much. We're so busy. So it's been very convenient to find people like this. If somebody isn't really available, then you don't really have to lean into a relationship with them. And if you weave in and out of their life, they weave in and out of yours, then it's fine. It doesn't matter. I also am not necessarily looking to have children or get married. So I don't need to set the same goals as other people. It's okay if somebody, quote unquote, wastes my time as long as I enjoy them. Because if I'm not looking for a father for my children and there's not a timestamp on it, that it's fine. And as long as it doesn't feel too bad, it's also fine. Like I do feel there's a lot of value in something the last 6 months. If it really is somebody that you feel a love for and it's fun. I think people like this who are emotionally unavailable, like the highs feel really high.
Yeah.
And very small increments feel even better than like when somebody that's consistent. Because if they finally show up for you, they finally give you a little bit of themselves. They finally like are a little bit intimate. It feels so good because you're feeling like you're like winning something almost.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched you do this, like where it's like, I think of one person in particular, it was like, I thought we were done with him. Then he kind of came back around and you got into like the same cycle with him. And it was just like, from the outside, it was like, there's never going to work. And it's not an insult to you. It has nothing to do with you. He liked you. It was just like, he's not going to pick you. He might not pick anybody. Like he's not a person that is even close to being a emotionally available person you could be in a healthy, secure relationship with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you'll like entertain it. And I think you've grown a lot out of like those cycles. But you do still find yourself sometimes in these like, you know, I was reading this article, the Cut article, where it's like this woman's like chronic thing was she's like, I always fall for my guy friends. She was like an artist and she was like, I always end up in these like friendships and then I'm like in love with my guy friend and it's like never going to work or he doesn't feel the same way or whatever it is. And then it's just like we spend all our time together and this can look a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it's fine also to be with these people as long as you're not making them your whole world, as long as they're not an excuse to not date other people. Like Nick Viall was saying, like, if you guys are in a situationship, you're not in a relationship. But you let those people sort of fill the void. You talk to them at night and you hang out instead of going on dates.
Right,
and
they can fill a void.
The one person in particular, I'm not trying to be like cryptic, but I've had somebody in my life for about 4 years. He's just been in and out of my life. And I have a deep love for him. I care about him, but he comes from a lot of trauma. He's never going to be available to me the way I need him to. He never has been.
Yeah.
And anytime I get him to a place of him being like, you're the person, I want to do this, he like punishes me by like retreating immediately.
Yeah.
And that's what extremely avoidant people do. At this point in my life, it doesn't bother me. I know what it is. I can read the room. But for a long time, it was upsetting and hard. And I was like, why can't I stop? And these people do make an impact on you. And the longer you allow somebody to be in your life, you feel a bond with them. And so it's almost like harder the longer. At this point, I've known this person for 4 years. He could call me tomorrow and I would really...
You'd start to really care.
Yeah. I like really care about this person. That he really knows me in like a very deep way. He's known me since the beginning of like touring and Watch Girls Gotta Eat Grow know. And I feel like a deep bond to him, but that's like, that would be insane to lean into that any further.
Right. And you do know better. And like, I also don't want to come across like I'm coming down on you. I mean, I just want you to find a healthy, secure relationship, and you are capable of it. And you've done it since we've been friends. You know, like I do think it's a pattern of yours to an extent. I don't think it's your whole existence in dating. I think you really can lean into a relationship that's like feels really nice and secure.
Yeah.
I think these other things just can derail you sometimes.
Yeah. And I forgo what is right for what is easy sometimes, I guess. Meaning like, yeah, I could lean into dating people that actually make sense for me and that are at appropriate age and live in the place I live and make an amount of money that makes sense for me, the way that they live their lives, things like that. And I've allowed other people to kind of creep in and take my attention. And again, I'm not being hard on myself. Every person I'm talking about that I've done this with has made me laugh, has been smart. There's been a lot of value in those people. These are not terrible people. They're actually great people that are really worthwhile. They're just not my people. And I've allowed that to derail me from being with people that could be really wonderful. And I had my last relationship ended, like serious relationship ended about 2 years ago. And that was a wonderful, loving relationship. I have not one bad thing to say about the actual relationship. And I've had multiple long-term relationships with great people. It's just, I do this other thing too sometimes. It's my toxic trait.
This other thing too. All right. We really just dove right in, but I'd love to back up a little bit.
I like the therapy session for me.
Of course. Can I read this email?
Also, I want to say before you go, I don't feel like you're coming down on me and nobody knows me better than you. And I wouldn't have done this episode on our show if I didn't want to talk about this.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's just kind of like you guys, sometimes you hear us having conversations that we really have as best friends. Like, you know, Rain and I have had really deep heart to hearts. There's been tears of like her being upset about something and us trying to figure out why this happened and why it escalated in such a way. And, you know, we both have flaws clearly. And when it comes to dating, and nobody's perfect. This is not something that I feel like I suffer from, but I have like other shit going on too. Right. But, you know, we have talked about this like at length and like how we can tie it back to like your family and like all this stuff. So it is just kind of stuff that we discuss privately too.
Yeah.
The goal is like, for me, I love you. I think you're wonderful. Like, I want you to feel obviously like someone thinks you're as special as I think you are, as you are, you know, as much as your friends and your family love you and our audience loves you. Like, that's the type of relationship you should be in and how someone should view you too. You know, like if someone doesn't want to be with you, they don't deserve to be.
I don't think of myself as being somebody that should be like just an option for a person.
Yeah.
And I also have not felt treated like that. Like, I feel like everybody I've been like this with has also leaned in and been like a co-conspirator with me in this. I'm not like, you know, going after horrible fuckboys, but anyways, okay, you have an email that you want to read.
Well, we got this email and I just liked it, and it like ties into some other topics we've been talking about. So she emailed us, and again, we asked some questions on Instagram, which we'll go through the responses, but I think she basically was like trying to respond to the story and was like, fuck this, I have too much to say. So she said, I sent you a lot of choppy responses to the story, but I feel very strongly about this topic. As I said, I just woke up from this pattern. Side note, I now have 3 very available men that want me. Okay. One flying from Michigan to Raleigh to see me. But as America Ferrera so gorgeously put in Barbie, we as women are told we aren't enough, which is mainly based on all the mixed messaging of how we should be. I, like many other women, believe that I wasn't good enough. Subsequently, that I'd be rejected by men because I couldn't fit all these things I should have. So I fell in love with men in long distance relationships or men that were far from emotionally available. Even men I knew were just not the kind of person I wanted. Like if Raina dated a granola camping man, just wouldn't work. But as long as I picked these men, I could reaffirm the belief that I wasn't good enough. Then there was no need for the messy self-love and the pain of finding out we were always good enough and didn't deserve the shit. The grief we feel for our younger selves that we let get used and mistreated is overwhelming, but it's necessary, unfortunately, for us as women to have to get through. Hopefully this new generation raises women who don't have to feel that grief. The system is being broken, as Barbie, Taylor, Beyonce, and so many other women have shown this summer alone. And there is nothing better than a community of women who carry the same pain as you. I'm very excited for you two to cover this topic however you do. I love what you do. I'm the oldest daughter, so I didn't have an older sister to teach me about boys, blowjobs, and so much more. Over the last few years, you two have become that for me. My best friend and I are coming to see you in ATL, and we are so excited. What you do is so important. Women like you pave the way for women like me to step into my femininity, my sexuality, and all the beautiful things about being a woman. Thank you so much. Lots of love, Hannah. Jeez.
Love the women that listen to the show and the 4 men.
And just, she had to bring in the trifecta, Barbie, Taylor, and Beyonce.
I got chills on my legs.
Billionaire girl summer. She says how a lot of you guys probably feel is this like doing it to reaffirm this like internal belief that you're not worthy, you know, which is really painful to think about.
It's hard. And my mom's a therapist, so I don't think she's wrong. She has said to me my whole life that I don't go after people that are on the same level as me. She's told me that since I was in high school.
Yeah.
And it's not scary to be with people that aren't on your level. Somebody that like, you know, that you're smarter than, quicker than, or it's not going to work out with. It's not scary to be with people like that because you know that you have the upper hand by knowing that like this could end and I knew it was going to end. So it doesn't matter.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I took a long way of explaining that.
No. I was trying to think of how to put that into words too. That's in my notes. I think you said it better than I could have. But yeah. And I wonder how much it comes back down to like just really needing to like feel that control, like the upper hand, like you said, you know, like that's where I get all fucked up is like feeling like I'm losing like control. Not that I need to have the upper hand or be in a relationship. I'm in a relationship now that couldn't be better. And we're obviously both very much vulnerable and open, and we're both putting ourselves out there to be hurt. It would be soul crushing to have him break up with me and vice versa for him. You know what I mean? Like there's no like upper hand here, upper hand there thought process in my mind. Like I've given myself fully to this relationship with the confidence that's going to last.
Yeah.
Or, you know, right now it's great. But yeah, I've been in those places too where I'm like, I'm losing it. I'm losing control. I'm going to get hurt, or I put myself out there too much. I'm going to get embarrassed, you know, like all that stuff. So when it's easier to say, you're like, oh, well, that guy was a fuckboy to begin with. Obviously knew.
And it's weird because you think like the person that's emotionally unavailable has the control, but you also feel like you have the control because you're like, I knew this wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So if they reject me, I knew they were going to. If this ends, I knew it was never going to work out in the first place. They're too young. They don't live in the same place as me. She mentioned long distance relationships, which I have sought out a lot in my life. I do think it's like a level of control. I can walk away from it and know like, well, that was never going to be a thing anyways.
Okay. So let's talk about like what it looks like and the different forms it can take.
Yes. I wrote down the list from this article, but signs that someone is emotionally unavailable. You feel like you always have to be perfect to keep them interested. I remember the main person I've done this with for years, I do kind of like cater to him in conversations. I defer to him a little bit more. You feel like you're climbing Mount Everest every time you get close to them. It's like, it's not natural to build intimacy with people like this. It's purposeful that they're not building it with you, you know? They don't communicate consistently. They struggle to be affectionate. They become awkward when you get physically or emotionally close. They may lack empathy just for general things that you're going through. So I think that this looks like a fair weather person. When things are funny and exciting and you have a good day, they want to hear from you. They want to talk to you. When you have a bad day, they're not there to be your confidant, your companion. That's not what they're there for. Those are some of the ones that I like from this list. They become uncomfortable when you express affection or emotions towards them. They drop a relationship completely at the first sign of emotional intimacy.
Yeah. And then, you know, there could just be like a general sense of this person is just not looking for a relationship for whatever reason. They could be in another relationship. You know, like I think if you're a person who is most of the time going after married men or men in other relationships, it's a little bit of a different animal, but it still falls under the bucket of unavailable. It's off limits. Some people find that sexy. Like that's a lot of people's thing, is like only wanting someone that someone else wants, that someone else has. Then that's like a lot of that is wrapped up in validation, which is then wrapped up in insecurity. And that is just like the ultimate pick me, like you wanting to be chosen when someone is in another relationship. Yeah. And that's really needs to be explored.
I want to dive into that with you. I mean, I think these are two different things. Emotionally unavailable people, I think that there's this notion of, I want to save somebody, I can change them. If somebody that's really emotionally unavailable changes their mind about you, it's this feeling of being chosen. And you're just like, I did this thing that like, that was my problem with that book, Ugly Love, because it's a whole book about this girl chasing after this guy who's completely unavailable to her, and she just gives him everything while he gives her nothing. And you're like rooting for them to end up together. And you finish the book and you're like, this guy shit all over her and gave her nothing.
Carrying big.
Yeah. And it's just, I think it's like this thrill of the chase of being like, I'm the one that's going to fix him. I'm the one that's going to change him. And it feels so good when you climb that mountain. But like I said, people that are really emotionally avoidant tend to punish you for getting in there with them. And they do that by retreating from you.
Yeah.
Not always, but it feels really bad. But anyway, so going after men or women that are in relationships with other people is like a whole other category, because this is not a victimless crime.
Right.
You know, like you are actively messing up somebody's relationship, like an innocent person.
Well, that's on them. I mean, the person in the relationship too, but we're getting to like Ariana Grande territory, whatever the truth may be. But if the truth is that she tends to go after people who are in relationships, obviously it's those people's responsibility to not cheat on their partners. Like, let's not make her this like villain, but if her or whoever, if that's what you are doing, it's more attractive to you, someone that is already in a relationship. I mean, that's just got to be on you to explore maybe with a professional and like deal with. Unless you're like, too bad, I want to be like this. Break up with your girlfriend on board. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But if you're like, I don't want to be a homewrecker, like, I don't want this. We'll get into kind of like the ways that you can work on this. But I just want to say that a lot of this or all of it can come from your childhood and your parents and your trauma and being caught up in a cycle of abandonment and choosing someone who will leave you in the end. So you can continue that cycle of abandonment and the insecurity feeling familiar to you. And this is upsetting to talk about, like it's not fair that you're a person that's like born to the world and this is the hand that you're dealt. And you're like, my romantic relationships are so fucked because of my parents, like you didn't ask for that. This is what you were born into. And so I just want to validate that so much of this comes from that. And you would probably know, at this stage in the game, if you're an adult listening to this, that if you have, that type of a broken family or abandonment issues or, that type of insecurity and trauma, like, it. And I feel for you. And, I can't sit up here and be like, just don't do this. Cause I don't come from that type of family. And I'm really lucky to come from like loving, supportive parents. And that is a lot of why I am the way that I am and why I seek out emotionally available people. And I don't want to even go down the road with someone that seems like they're not going to want to be in a healthy relationship with me, So some people just have a much more challenging road ahead to get to a place where they can A, seek out and B, be comfortable in a healthy, secure relationship. And that's just like life, it's not fair.
But you should just think about how bad this feels when these things sort of play out. The cycle feels really bad when you're just like, I'm trying to choose this person, but I'm never going to be chosen. And whether they are in a relationship with somebody else or they're just not available to you for whatever reason, like, I think at some point you just have to get to the place where you're like, this feels worse more often than it feels good. And I don't want to feel like this. And being somebody who's done both, I've been in romantic relationships with people that I really love. They were wonderful, fully committed to me. And I've been in these like cycles of unavailability and it just feels really bad. And I'll pick real, secure, romantic love every day over that. And I'd rather be alone than like feel like this person is never going to choose me. It's a bad feeling.
But I mean, my point is like, it's a familiar feeling. So like, it's hard to talk about this from two women who grew up in loving homes, like you felt like you had a lot of love and support growing up, even though your parents were divorced. But I understand, and I want to be sensitive to people that don't really know that feeling, and the insecurity feels more familiar than the love and security. You know what I mean? So like, you're just like leaning into what feels right and like continuing the cycle that you already had, that you were wired from childhood. But I wanted to read these other 4 things. I just found this Instagram post. The account, this might be old, but the account is called your.being. But it just says 4 reasons why you keep choosing emotionally unavailable partners. And one is your parents or caregivers were often unavailable to you growing up. As an adult, you're drawn to a similar type of person because it feels familiar to you. Also, you're a fixer and you attach yourself to people who need help. You tend to give more than you get in relationships. I see that too, like fixer-uppers, but that feels a little different to me than what we're talking about. 3 is you're disconnected with yourself. You don't recognize your worth and struggle to consider your own needs. And 4, there is a part of you that's emotionally unavailable or fears true intimacy, authenticity, and vulnerability, which I think is true too. It's like the Spider-Man meme. It's like, which one of us is emotionally unavailable? You're like picked them because you are the same way.
Yeah. And like I said, I think I've been like that throughout the years too. I think I've just been like, my cup overfloweth. I don't have anything to get. How many times have I said to you over the years, like if I had to prioritize a partner right now, they would hate me. They would hate me because you and I run 2 businesses. We were never around. Like I'm trying to like have a relationship with my family and my friends. It's a lot to then give that to another person.
Yeah, you have to choose. And then you say that, and then that is what you start to believe. You reinforce it even more by saying that. Like when you say things like, I'm too busy to have a partner or my life is too full. Like that's why kind of I stopped saying things like that, because it reinforces that fact. And so don't say it out loud. Don't try to sound like a bad bitch. I'm not saying you. I'm saying me. Like I was I want to be in a relationship. I need to stop speaking like that.
I've said on this podcast too that I keep saying these things and they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. That you're like, I'm so busy. And then it's like, oh, I've just let all these years go by.
Right. Like that Kelly was like, we have to reframe the way you speak. Like say like my life is so full, but I do have time and energy for someone else to come in it and, make it even fuller, like all the things, And you do make time for people when you want to.
Yeah. Like I've had relationships where we had this podcast and this other business and I figured it out.
I I was thinking about this, like my experience with this, and I did it more when I was younger, like where you kind of like romanticize that star-crossed lover shit. You know what I mean? Where you're like, it's almost like sexy that the world is against you. You know what I mean? Like you're like really doing it. Like I've grown out of that, but my whole life I haven't chosen emotionally available partners. You know, this is like I've grown into like picking those people, being able to recognize the signs, you know, being able to spot those red flags, and it becoming a turnoff to me that someone isn't available or isn't into me the same way that I'm into them. But I think when I was like younger, like I did romanticize that stuff, you know, like I got into something with like my ex's friend, you know, that was like kind of doomed from the start, you know, where I did like the distance thing. It was just kind of like, we all kind of do that, like kind of toxic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking about the like being attracted to people that are in relationships thing, and that is just something that probably happens a lot more when you're younger. First of all, the stakes are lower. As you get older, people are married, they have children. You're going to destroy somebody's family. It's a little different.
Yeah.
And then you have a reputation of your own that could be ruined. I think that when I was younger, I would be at a restaurant and someone's boyfriend or husband would look at me and like make eye contact, and it would like thrill me that someone like couldn't take their eyes off of me, even though they really shouldn't have. And now when something like that happens, I'm like fucking dirtbag, scumbag. Like I don't think it's sexy at all.
Yeah.
And I've just grown out of it. Like I think that a lot of people, and I get it, it is really toxic, but I do understand that you derive confidence being like, I am so sexy that this person couldn't help but do something so wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that affairs have a million different levels, but a guy that's just brazenly, casually cheating on his significant other with you, like, you're not special. It's not that great. You're not that gorgeous or amazing and wonderful. They're just kind of a scumbag that's looking to cheat. And listen, everything is case by case. But I used to think it was like really thrilling.
Yeah,
you could, like, get the attention of somebody. It's such a rush. It's such an ego boost. You're like, they're not supposed to do this. They're going to risk it all for me.
Yeah.
And I find it really gross as I get older.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like this stuff, again, like is sometimes really deeply ingrained from trauma, and it needs to be kind of worked out via therapy. And a lot of it is a mix. And we'll kind of talk at the end of like the things you can do, like the action items to do to kind of work on this within yourself. But I think that over time you like learn what makes someone available and open to you, and you like hopefully get into a relationship or something where you know what that feels like, what you're looking for, that like love and security and like mutual feelings. And you have to kind of train yourself. You have to like break these patterns and then like train yourself, your thinking, where you believe that someone who isn't into you or is with someone else or doesn't make you feel good about yourself or is like inconsistent and doesn't show up is someone that is not worthy of your time instead of someone that turns you on. Like some of it is just like the mental gymnastics, like all the other shit that we have to do when we come to like your career or your body image or whatever is like a lot of self-talk and like training our own brains.
And it's hard to retrain your brain because when you get somebody who's unavailable to be interested in you, the thrill is so exciting and it's so fun. And you might lack a little bit of that sort of quote unquote like butterflies and spark when you're with somebody that's just securely attached. They're intentional. They're showing up for you. You're like, why doesn't this feel as exciting and thrilling as the other stuff felt? And it's like, because it's secure.
Yeah.
So I think you have to retrain your brain on like what feels good for me. Cause like getting somebody who like it was so far off the table to be into you feels so good.
Yeah.
But the end result will feel so bad.
Right. Right. And then if you get to a point with somebody where you're both so securely, healthily in love, like nothing feels better.
Nothing will ever feel better.
Wild.
Yeah. It's crazy. You're like, I can feel like this.
I feel so lucky. Does everyone else have this? Like, what is this? Is so nice. I kind of want to talk about some of the reasons why our listeners feel like they seek this out. And people were really vulnerable with us.
Yeah. I said, Ashley, I was like, I can't believe that people are being so open. You were like, those are your people. I feel like we've all been there. We all have our reasons. Some of them we've already talked about, the childhood abandonment issues. I like this. If they struggle to support themselves, they'll need me. And then I have more power and control. I mean, that is really vulnerable to admit. And I really thank whoever wrote that. And that kind of goes in a couple things of like, that's the deeper reason of being needed. I want someone that is struggling, so they need me, so I have more power and control. But I mean, whether that person is emotionally unavailable or not, I mean, who's to say? But I think that a lot of these things, it just gets boiled down to like, well, you don't like yourself. It's self-esteem. It's like, it could be 100 different reasons why you do this. I don't think I behave like this because I lack self-esteem.
Yeah.
I like the stuff about parents a lot. This girl said my father figure was unavailable, and that's how I associate love. You know, that's what you saw in the home, either between your parents or, like in my case, yes, my parents both raised me in a very, I felt emotionally supported. But there was a long period of time where my dad wasn't paying child support. My mom was so angry about it. And I remember feeling the need to protect him all the time. But like, when you zoom out, my mom was like, I'm the victim here. You see that, right? I'm the victim. You're the victim that he won't pay child support, but you prioritize him. You want to keep him safe. And so, yeah, I grew up wanting to like make excuses for men, I think. That was my father, and I didn't like anybody saying anything bad about him. And so I probably associate a lot of this from childhood, and I make excuses for people.
Well, we said this before on one of our like long car ride talks. Like, you're just a little more inclined to give men a pass.
Yes.
Not for anything terrible.
No.
You know, but like, your dad's an amazing person. We love him, you know, but has his flaws. And, you know, growing up, you excused it and defended it. So, like, of course, you're going to do that a little bit more as an adult with men, you know, like it all kind of comes around full circle. But some of your stuff is probably wrapped into your mom, too. And that's for a professional to figure out. I can do the dad stuff pretty well, but when we get to like, I'm like, because that's one of the things that like we talked about with Lori Gottlieb on our mom episode is like, people always want to say women, all of our issues and dating comes from your dad. And it's not always.
My mom fucked me up in a whole host of ways.
Like, it's not always daddy
They both
issues
ruined my life
here.
I confuse spark for anxiety. So like what I was saying is like, it feels like such a thrill, but it's like, I remember like the person I'm talking about that's like the through this whole episode, like when I wouldn't hear from him for a week and he would call me, I was anxious all week. And like, I would feel so excited when he would like connect with me, but that's like de-stressing. Yes, I feel a spark with him. I care about him very deeply, but like, it's almost like it feels so much better because you're so anxious. It's not a spark.
Right. Well, until you outgrow it or you reframe it, and then it's not hearing from that person for a week turns you off. Remember that guy I was talking to who like, I was so into him. He was so sexy and he was like a bad boy. It was like all the things, like definitely just the picture of emotional unavailability, you know, but wants to kind of cosplay like he is available, wants to kind of act like he's emotional and in touch with his whatever the fuck, he's going to fake journal and all that kind of stuff. But we were talking nonstop consistently. And then he just kind of ghosted for a week. He didn't die. He was on Instagram stories. He was doing his thing. Yeah. And then he tried to circle back around. And I was so turned off when he finally came back around. I remember I was on my way to your housewarming party and I sent you a screenshot. I was like, he's back. I'm going to deal with this. And you were like, see you never. I was like, no, this will be quick. And I just like cut the cord. I was like, I'm not interested. Like, again, that wasn't the first offense. Like there were times before where he
left you unread. You like started a conversation or a joke or asked a question and he just dropped off. And I find that really unattractive too.
Yeah. See, like, but it happened before, you know, everyone can get like a second chance, but I saw the writing on the wall and I kind of like still leaned into it. I was just going to be fun. I was never like, that's going to be my man. But I was turned off instead of like thrilled to hear from him. Like, I was like, no, you don't get to just leave me on red for a whole ass week and then come back around with some bullshit excuses. You have not been off the radar. You've been on the radar. I can see it.
You are the radar. I think as you get older, that becomes less fun and thrilling. The stuff I used to just tolerate in my early 20s would just never get by me now.
Yeah. I saw this one that like makes me sad, but it says, I had to fight to earn love as a child, which I feel for that person. And that like makes sense as well. Like if you were fighting to earn love that like in a perfect world should be given to you from your parents, no matter what, you know, like that's the ideal child relationship is you're not fighting to earn the love of your parents is like, you do that for forever potentially, or you at least until you kind of work that out, you're going to do that in a romantic relationship.
It's just a familiar feeling. That's what love feels like for you, that I have to work for.
I have to earn it. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then if you're that type of person, it doesn't feel right to just have it given to you. You know what I mean? If it's easy, if someone just likes you outright, someone wants to be with you, you haven't had to fight for it. You haven't had to go through a bunch of turmoil and struggle and pain and anxiety. It doesn't feel right. It's not going to sit right with you. Right. That's going to make you more anxious. You're like, whoa, this is too easy. I wanted to hear what you thought about this. This is from The Cut as well. This is Ask Polly.
Okay.
This is the woman that wrote in. She's like, I'm an artist. I always fall for my friends. Like she wrote a lot in. She was like really open with like what her situation was. And the writer wrote back. She said, one of the hardest things to do is give your love to someone who is looking right at you. One of the easiest things to do is to give your love to someone who doesn't care at all. It's so easy to love someone who doesn't love you or isn't attracted to you or isn't interested or is too busy to care. And when you're doing the easiest thing, even though it hurts you, that's a sign that you have to start doing hard work in order to feed yourself, respect yourself, and give yourself room to grow in the absence of big distractions like unavailable men and unwanted lovers. I mean, that's kind of like, it's easy to just love this unavailable person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Knowing that it's never going to work out. You
Uh-huh.
can just like put all your time and energy into this thing you know is not going to work out.
Because you can just exist in it.
Yeah.
You know, like you just don't have to think like, what's the next step? Where is this building to? What's the next phase of intimacy? Because you're just like, this isn't going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are people, and this girl said this too. If I get them to like me, I feel like I've quote unquote won. I mean, it is this amazing chase. Like, I'll never forget how good it feels. I've had 2 separate people that I've been in this pattern with say to me, you're the person. You're the one. I haven't felt like this about anybody. Like, you're the one. And then completely punish me for having said that to me by pulling away, by becoming distant. Like, they'll say this stuff to you and it feels so good in the moment. You're
Right.
like, holy shit, I climbed this mountain.
Yeah.
And then they take it away. And you knew all along that they weren't like this. Like, I don't think the goal is to change people like this. You're not going to. They have to change themselves. They have to want to change themselves.
And even like, that's kind of not real life. That's like kind of some fairy tale bullshit. That's like playing house, you know, that's like jumping ahead of the way a natural relationship should work. You don't go from like volatility, anxiety ridden up and down relationships to like, you're the one. And I've just been scared and I'm finally ready to commit. And you're like, we're not even together.
Right.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? That's not how it works. I've been in secure ass relationships. I'm in one now. It's not how it works. He doesn't need to confess in some dramatic speech. You're the one. I know it's been hard. No, we're just, you know, like
When he called me and did that, I was just like, I don't know what you want me to say.
we're not even together.
We're not together. And if I say yes, are you going to change your entire personality?
It's giving the Notebook. It's not real.
It's giving Ugly Love. And I'm so mad at that book.
I'm gonna burn that book. I haven't even started it.
So mad at
I
it.
feel mad about it.
Because, like, it's 400 pages of will they, won't they? And then she changes him. And it's like,
No,
you're not
Colleen.
the exception to the rule.
Some people hate on Colleen.
They do?
Well, I don't know. Is this kind of sending the wrong message? Like,
I mean, you can't win them all. Colleen has a lot of bangers, you know? but-
listen, we love Colleen, but I've gotten a few DMs like, don't support Colleen.
It's just funny because, like, our friend Kelly, more your friend, I talked about this last week, and we both got through that book, and then we were like, we were duped.
Yeah.
Because you're rooting for this guy, and then you're like, God damn it.
Is the title kind of telling?
It's an ugly love.
I don't want an ugly love. What a beautiful, healthy, glowing
This
love.
girl, I'm not giving anything away. This girl meets this guy. He's her brother's friend, and he says, like, I have 2 rules. Like, don't ask me about my past, and don't expect a future. And she just like spends all 400 pages struggling with this and looking for every little crumb that he leaves, because people like this will break at some point and tell you they miss you, you're special, you're wonderful, they're calling you all the time, you fun together. But like, if it's not consistent, it's not a relationship.
Right. Mic drop moment. I love that quote.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, should we talk about some ways to fix this
Yes.
now that we've gotten everybody all riled up and probably in their feels about it? So, Rita and I did a lot of research. We read a lot of.
Did you call me Rita?
Like the water ice? No, maybe though. So Rita and I were researching, and we read a lot from different like psychologists and therapists and people who are in the biz. Everything kind of came back to the same types of things, but I just found an article from Bustle, and we can just like break these down. I mean, number 1 is like notice the signs. That's kind of what we've been doing this episode. You know the signs.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Get honest with yourself about why you keep going after the same type. And if you're, maybe a little bit younger, you may not know those answers, but like even coming from the Instagram question we did, like a lot of you do know, yourselves, and that's the best place to start is the self-awareness. But sometimes the most painful, you're like, I know why I do this and I can't stop.
I think all you have to know at the end of the day is that something feels bad. And that's the first step in being like, I do want to choose a different path, because ultimately everybody deserves to feel like they are being chosen, like they are secure, like they are being loved. And if this feels consistently bad, which I completely relate to, then you have to lean into saying like, how can I right this ship, you know? And like you said, view the signs early on, because like, otherwise, you deepen this connection with this person and it becomes even harder to walk away.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Okay, we have a new term.
Okay.
Cut the tethering. So it says studies show that many individuals who report frequently getting hurt in relationships report that they experience a sense of false hope. Denise Limongello. What is that last name? Is that real? licensed psychotherapist and relationship expert based in Manhattan, tells Bustle, tethering is a new phenomenon that exists on the internet, which is meant to explain people who text frequently but never initiate dates or plans with a new person. Okay, so we know this. Just put a new word to it. But constant texting can lead to false hope that a relationship might ensue. If someone is texting you frequently but never setting up a plan, this can be an indicator that this person is emotionally unavailable and might be worth steering clear of. Insist on identifying the relationship after some time. If a person wants to date you but refuses to identify your relationship with a label, this can be an indicator that he or she is emotionally unavailable. And if you want to do a relationship test, listen back to our episode with Nick Vial about the only real plan of action that you have. Recognize that you're not meant to be their savior, which we talked about. A lot of people just have that like savior complex, need to feel needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then develop your sense of self and ask yourself, are you really ready for a relationship? Which we said, you could be the emotionally unavailable one. But, develop your sense of self. That's easier said than done. I mean, it takes a lifetime of work for some people to work on their self-worth and self-love and value.
But if you explore that this type of connection does not fulfill you, I think it's at least worth exploring yourself and what's going on.
Yeah.
If you explore, I think explore.
All right, Rita.
So explore a bunch of times. I held out for an hour and a half.
This quote says, if dating emotionally unavailable people stems from self-esteem issues, then work on developing a sense of confidence and worthiness. The way you feel about yourself directly affects your relationship with others and your dating life. When you feel confident and able to attract a great partner, you are no longer willing to accept anything less. And, simple things like building a life that you like, mastering a skill, new hobbies, interests, self-care, exercising, getting more sleep. Again, I just want to reiterate that a lot of stuff comes from your childhood, from your trauma. It's not so easily cured with, a new hobby and exercise, but
yeah, it's none of it is. It's not like you have to realize you deserve more and then just do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I deserve more. If there's anybody that's a shiny beacon, if she should be doing something different, it's me. She knows it.
Yeah. Some of it is like what we talked about with Marsha Inhorn is like, there's just kind of a discrepancy between men and women in the first place. I just want to validate that it's hard out there to find a good person. Mm-hmm. You're a woman like most of our audience and you love your life, you're, attractive, successful, whatever, all the things. You have your family and friends and you're doing the things and you're like, I'm great. My life is great. I'm super happy. It's very difficult for me to find someone who I feel like I'm attracted to, who is like some level of success that I would want if that's something that you're interested in, and also is like emotionally, like these things can be kind of hard to find. And you don't have to be a person that has a bunch of trauma and these things going on, and you could still find yourself caught up with somebody who just was like cute and fun. And then you're like, well, I haven't found somebody that makes me laugh in a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes
it's my kryptonite.
It's sometimes not as deep. It could be like, there's just a lack of fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm searching literally to find a needle in a haystack to find someone that has the qualities that I want and is available. I mean, I just want to validate that it's tough. I haven't had a serious relationship in 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you find me something better if it's so easy.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to end this on a negative note, but I just want to validate that it's not so easy.
I mean, if it was so easy, I'd be doing it. I mean, I am doing it. We had bathtub sex last night. I'm a very nice person.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens, but it is someone that is emotionally available.
Yes. And makes sense for me. Isn't some crazy age difference. His lifestyle isn't so far outside of the realm. He doesn't go camping on the weekends.
Yeah. God.
Ew. I know how it feels to be with emotionally unavailable people, and I know how it feels when you find somebody that's just easy and it's secure, and I'll choose that every day if I can find it.
Here's the thing. You gotta find it.
You gotta find it. Good luck out there.
So the hardest part of all of it is actually finding those people. I did it.
I mean, I think some of it is I like the manifesting episode we did. And I think that a lot of that advice is really valid of what you think about yourself is what you put out into the world, and what you're willing to accept is what you get back into the world, from the world. And I mean, you wouldn't go down this road with these people if you thought you deserved more and you're putting that out into the world and thought okay, like you said, if somebody's not consistently responding to you, if you start conversations, they don't respond, then that's over with. Then we're going to be done with this. And that's easier said than done, but it's one day at a time,
Yeah. And one day at a time and one person at a time. The first time you break that pattern, that is a huge win for you. You know, like, and this can be small. The first time someone just is not being consistent, they're leaving you on red, they're not showing up, whatever it is, and you just decide, like, I'm done with this, like, it's going to feel really good. Instead of keeping them on your roster, keeping them on the back burner, just be done with them. They're not worth your time. Like, those small things really add up. And then before you know it, you've like evolved in the type of person that is seeking out the right type of people. I think of Amy Chan, who popped into my head as someone who did used to seek out the wrong type of people. And if you listen to our breakup bootcamp episode from 2019, our first episode with Amy, she does talk about that and like breaking that pattern, I believe. I hope I'm like not misspeaking here, but I'm pretty certain she talked about kind of like her insecurity growing up and like the type of partner she went after and how she was like, I realized that I needed to like break that pattern and go after a different type of person and like do something different. And so breaking patterns is a huge part of this. And we've had so many different episodes on that, you know, even with like James Clear, you know, like that's a large part of it. And those things all play a part in this as well. But I do remember, I feel like her speaking on this and she like really did it. She's in a really great relationship since then, I believe. They're still together and it's healthy. And so hopefully all these resources can help you start this journey if you are someone who goes after emotionally unavailable people or just straight up unavailable people.
Yeah, like me. And you're not so broken and damaged. You can change that, you know?
Yeah. We're never beyond hope and we're always evolving.
Yeah, look at me.
All right. You feel good? I feel like we did it?
I feel good. Otherwise, I feel great.
You don't feel good.
No, but
You're not well.
We are coming out with a new vibrator and I used it this morning and it is so good, you guys. So we have really fun stuff coming out. If you guys are new here, we have a extra company called Vibes Only and we have an app with erotic audio stories and all the toys are Bluetooth connected to the app. There's remote control, all the things. But we have some new toys coming out, new colors of existing toys, but we have a penetrative toy that we are coming out with and I used it this morning. Holy shit.
Okay.
Really good.
During your
so hard.
salmon and
I threw up this
Netflix
morning.
thing.
I ate a
Yeah.
burrito. I
You've done a
masturbated.
lot.
I've done a lot.
We need to go, guys. Raina, I can tell you're starting to slur a little.
Tessa has said 6 times she has a big list. I know she wants to go through her list.
Oh no. Okay. It's 4:30. We have 30 minutes. This is a 9 to 5. Okay, guys, girlsgottaeat.com. Tour tickets. We cannot wait to see you on tour. I can't wait to see that girl and her friend in Atlanta.
I'm so excited.
Atlanta's probably sold out, but we have tickets in a lot of cities left. Come see us, make a trip out of it, do a little girls trip, catch flights, not feelings. And we will see you on the tour. Girlsgottaeat.com for tickets. And you can follow us on Instagram at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast. We are also on TikTok at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast. I am Ash Hess. Raina is Raina.Greenberg. And Vibes Only, like we just talked about, that's going to be vibesonly.com and Vibes Only on Instagram. And subscribe on YouTube. Share this with a friend who may be struggling with this topic. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.